Hi guys, my name's Megan and I am a personal trainer, athletic trainer, yoga instructor. I run a cancer survivors program, kind of a jack of all trades, and I live in Southern Indiana. And I just wanted to take a moment today and talk to you a little bit about my story. I'm a kid who grew up in the church. My siblings and I went to multiple Bible schools every summer. We went to multiple different branches of the church. My dad wanted us raised Catholic because that's how he was raised. So we went to the Catholic church most of the time. But we also went to my grandparents' Presbyterian church. We went to the Methodist church. We went to the Baptist church. We were all over the place, have been my whole life. And I think that's a really cool aspect of my story because every single one of those denominations has something different that they bring, and yet they all have the same core focus, and that's Jesus. And I think that's really cool. I've always known Jesus. I've always known who he was. I've always known what he was doing in my life. I've never not known him. I've never experienced life without him. But I haven't always had an intimate relationship with him. I grew up checking the boxes. Go to church on Sunday, check. Go to Bible school, check. Go to Sunday school, check. And I knew there was something missing, but I didn't know what it was because nobody was telling me what it was. So I didn't know how to find out. Until I found a group of people who had what I was looking for. They had relationship and there was something different about them. They were so much more calm when things started going crazy, so much more at peace no matter what was happening in their world. And I wanted that. And so I asked them what it was. What is it that you have? And they told me that it was a relationship. So I started talking to Jesus and spending time specifically just like hanging out with him, reading the Bible, but then sitting with it, just reading a verse and then hanging out in that verse for a minute, not studying it, not pulling out the commentary or anything like that, just being like, all right, Jesus, talk to me about this. This is what we're reading today. What have we got? I started praying a little bit differently. I grew up with a lot of those, they're great prayers, but I'm gonna call them cookie cutter prayers. The Our Father, the doxology, the Hail Mary, like those prayers that are the exact same scripted words that you can almost say as if you're in a trance. Like you can pray those prayers without thinking, right? And that's part of what makes them so good because you can pull on them at any time. But I wanted more than that. And I started learning that I didn't have to have that formality to my prayer. I could just talk to him. I could just enjoy time spending with him. And it really made a huge difference in my life when I found that relationship. In fact, it made a difference such that when I started being able to hear his voice. I didn't really hear him. He didn't talk to me as I was growing up. I just knew him. But that's not true. I just didn't know how to hear him. And I think it's different for all of us how we go about hearing him. But when I started hearing him, he tells us things. He started telling me what he wanted me to do with my life, and it wasn't what I was already doing. It wasn't what I had gone to undergrad and graduate school for. Those were things I was going to use where he wanted me to go. But just using those things wasn't all he wanted for me. He wanted me to think bigger. And he started by opening doors. So as an athletic trainer, I was in my athletic training, and we joked that it was a drive-through window because it was like one of those metal roll-up windows, but it was small, like the size of a drive-through window. And the basketball coach for the boys team at the high school I was working with popped his head into that drive-through window one day, and he asked me, he said, do you want to go to China? Come again? So he repeated his question, and I told him I would like to hear more about this. And he put me in contact with a group of people that were taking a trip to the Far East. They were taking a trip that I could go on as an athletic trainer and be a part of. And it opened the door to this beautiful journey for me. This journey where I started to witness people who had relationship and be involved with people who had relationship. And then he opened the next door. Only this door was a little bigger and a little more scary. He told me that I was more than an athletic trainer. I was going to open my own space. I was going to do my own thing. I was going to step outside the box, and I was going to open a space that was all about him and all for him and had him at the focus. And it was going to be a yoga studio. I'd been practicing yoga for years. I wasn't a yoga instructor. So I Googled how to become a yoga instructor. And Holy Yoga was the first, was on that first page. They were actually the third item on the list. So I clicked on it, and they talked about their mission statement, how they incorporate Jesus into their practice, how they pray, and they have Christian music, and it's basically a worship experience. Sign me up. So I sign up for training, and I go through, it's mostly online. And during this time, I discovered that I'm done with my job. I'm putting in my notice at the end of this school year. So I work my last day of my job on a Thursday. I picked up a friend at the airport on Friday. On Saturday, she and I ran a marathon. On Sunday, I dropped her off at the airport, and I flew to Phoenix, Arizona to finish out my yoga instructor training. I'm technically unemployed. I'm not even qualified to do what I'm planning to do because I haven't finished my training, but I was so at peace with it. It didn't matter because I knew this was the direction I was supposed to go. I finished my training. I got a job teaching. I started doing what he'd called me to do. And what it was took a bunch of different shapes. At first, it was going to be teaching out of several different facilities. That didn't pan out. No surprise there, right? And then I was going to open my own space, which was always the ultimate goal, right? I was just gonna skip ahead to that spot. I had a girl I knew who was getting ready to give up her space. I could buy out her lease, I could buy out her contact list, and open my doors. God opened a couple of red flags for me at the very last second, and I didn't do it. This was in August of 2019. Then March of 2020 came, and the world shut down, right? He protects me. He protects you too. He's so good, because if I had gone through with it, my whole dream would have been crushed, because there's no way I would have built up enough clientele to be able to keep paying my bills without having the doors open. And so during that time, he gave me another option. What if you just do it all online? So that's currently what it's looking like. I'm filming videos and making a website, and it's going to be beautiful. It'll be up soon. It's really cool the way that he talks to us, and the way he doesn't call us when we're equipped. He doesn't call us when we're ready. He calls us, and then he gives us what we need in order to do what he wants us to do. I've heard it phrased, he doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called. And it's so true. And he doesn't find us when we're strong and we're ready and we've got it all put together and we're all right where we need to be. That's not how he works either, right? He gives us what we need. His strength shows up because he does it out of our weaknesses. A couple of verses I've really been sitting with lately are Isaiah 40:29 and 2 Corinthians 12:9. And they really talk about that, how in our weakness, he's made strong, how he gives us what we need. He gives us the strength to keep going when we think we can't keep going. And those verses have really meant a lot to me. I hope maybe they will help you out too as you're digging through those hard places. You know, we're all facing a hard time right now. And we just need to remember that God loves us. He's so on our side. He so wants to work with us and for us and through us if only we'll let him. And he wants to lead us into these great, big, beautiful adventures, these great, big places that are scary to us, but are so good to him, that are scary and hard for us, but that build his kingdom up in a beautiful way. He just wants to use us. He just wants to know us. And I know that for me, letting him use me and knowing him have made the biggest difference and the best difference in my life, and they've given me so much joy. He's so good. I hope you get to experience some of that as well, my friends. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.